أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا اللهم احفظنا وارحمنا واعصمنا وأنت أرحم الراحمين وإذ تغلغلنا في بحار علوم المكاشفة فلنقبض العنان ولنرجع إلى ما يليق بعلوم المعاملة. So Imam Ghazali says we kind of deviated from the methods, from the strategy set in the beginning. So he said this book will be about ulum al-mu'amala, not about ulum al-mukashafa. But he says now we dived in the sea of ulum al-mukashafa, and he says now let's refrain from this and go back to discussion and carry it on within the context of the ulum al-mu'amala. فنقول, and we say, الأنبياء عليهم السلام بعثوا لدعوة الخلق إلى كمال التوحيد. So all the messengers of Allah Ta'ala, they were sent by Allah Ta'ala, peace be upon them, to invite people to the perfect tawheed. الذي وصفناه, and he described about what's perfect tawheed. He described the meaning of the perfect tawheed, and he explained that there are levels, different levels of understanding tawheed. ولكن بينهم وبين الوصول إليه مسافة بعيدة. But there is a big distance between people who are invited to Kamal al-Tawheed and the level they are at the moment. So وعقبات شديدة, and there are lots of challenges, difficulties, obstacles, moving from the beginner level to the perfect or the high level of Tawheed. وإنما الشرع كله تعريف طريق السلوك تلك المسافة. And the religion is all about explaining the path for the journey to cut this distance and to reach to this perfect, the highest level of understanding Tawheed in a most perfect way. So religion is about this. Religion like to teach people like how they improve themselves in such a way that at the end they reach to Kamal al-Tawheed وقطع تلك العقبات, and how they can pass these obstacles, because there are obstacles in the path to reach to this highest level of understanding Tawheed. وعند ذلك يكون النظر عن مشاهدة أخرى ومقام آخر. But when you reach to this highest level, your thinking would be very different, and your station would be very different than the previous stations. فيظهر في ذلك المقام وبالإضافة إلى تلك المشاهدة الشكر والشاكر والمشكور ولا يعرف ذلك إلا بمثال. So and when you reach to this Kamal al-Tawheed, to this station, on that station, al-mushahada, al-shukr, al-shakir, al-mashkur, all of them look very different to your understanding. So your understanding of mushahada, shukr, shak, I mean your understanding of shukr, gratitude, and the shakir, the one who offers thanks, and the mashkur, the thing for which you are offering thanks. All of them look different at that level of mushahada. But this cannot be understood except through a metaphor, through an example. فأقول, and he brings an example. يمكنك أن تفهم أن ملكا من الملوك أرسل إلى عبد قد بعد منه مركوبا وملبوسا ونقدا. Suppose that there is a king, one of the kings. He sends one of his employees or servants, something to mount on a ride, and some clothing and some money. So he has a servant or he has an employee who's far away from him, and he sends some clothing, some like ride, maybe horse or something like that, and some money to this person. ولأجل زاده في الطريق حتى يقطع به مسافة البعد ويقرب من حضرة الملك. And he's sending all these things to him so that he uses this money, this mount, this horse and the clothes, to use them in his way to come to him, to come to the presence of the king. Okay, he's sending this horse, this money, this clothing. Okay, use these things to come to me. There is a long distance, and use these things to come to me. ثم يكون له حالتان. Then this person has like two states. إحداهما, one of those options is that أن يكون قصده من وصول العبد إلى حضرته أن يقوم ببعض مهماته ويكون له عناية في خدمته. So in this journey, the intention or the purpose would be that this servant reaches to him to take care of some of the things he needs, and also he serves that king. والثانية, the second option would be أن لا يكون للملك حظ في العبد. So the Malik, the king, has no expectation, from the servant. ولا حاجة به إليه, and actually the king does not even need him. بل حضوره لا يزيد في ملكه. On the contrary, his visit is not going to increase the power of this king. He's so powerful, he does not need anything, and he does not need this person to come to him, and he's not expecting anything from him to do when he comes to visit him. لأنه لا يقوى على القيام بخدمة توني منه غناء. So because this person who is asked to travel and come to the palace of the king, he cannot offer anything, to the king, because the king does not need any of the things he can offer. وغيبته لا تنقص من ملكه. And the absence of this person from the palace of the king does not decrease anything in the power of the king. فيكون قصده من الإنعام عليه بالمركوب والزاد أن يحظى العبد بالقرب منه. So the purpose of the king is not to get something from him, but by offering him these gifts, like this horse and the food and the clothing. He has no other purpose except that this servant or this person benefits from being close to him. That's the only purpose he has. وينال سعادة حضرته, so that this person reaches the happiness of being in his presence. That's the only purpose the king has. Otherwise, he has no expectation, no benefit from him. لتنتفع هو في نفسه, so that this person, he benefits, from this presence. لا لينتفع الملك به وبانتفاعه. But there is no benefit for the king from this person. فينزل العباد من الله تعالى في المنزلة الثانية. So the relationship of people with Allah Ta'ala is similar to this relationship in the second option. لا في المنزلة الأولى, but not the first option. Because in the first option, the king, is sending this horse, this money, this clothing, so that this person comes to him and, does something he needs. He's expecting him to do some service to him. But in the second case, the king does not need him at all. فإن الأولى محال على الله تعالى, because this first scenario is impossible about Allah Ta'ala, because Allah Ta'ala is above and beyond, in any needs from his servants. والثانية غير محال, but the second scenario is not impossible. It's possible that Allah Ta'ala, sends, some means for people so that they can use those means to come closer to him. ثم اعلم أن العبد لا يكون شاكرا في الحالة الأولى بمجرد الركوب والوصول إلى حضرته ما لم يقم بخدمته التي أرادها الملك منه. So in the first scenario, this servant or this worker cannot be a thankful one, simply because of riding this horse, and reaching to the presence of the king until he offers the service the king requests him to do for him. So simply reaching to the king is not enough. He needs to offer the services the king requests from him in the first scenario. وأما في الحالة الثانية, but in the second scenario, فلا يحتاج إلى الخدمة أصلا. The king does not need any service anyway. ومع ذلك يتصور أن يكون شاكرا وكافرا. But despite this, the person who's sent all this like horse, clothing, and the money to travel to the king may be considered a thankful person or ungrateful person. ويكون شكره بأن يستعمل ما أنفذه إليه مولاه فيما أحبه لأجله لا لأجل نفسه. So his way of showing his gratitude would be by using what his Lord gave him to spend those things for the purpose for which these things has been given to him. So if he spends like this money, and he uses the horse and the clothing for the purpose the king gave to him, then this is considered thankfulness, gratefulness to the king. لا لأجل نفسه, but not to enjoy himself, but not for the sake of his nafs, his hedonistic desires. So if he uses whatever he is given for the purpose he is given, then he is considered shakir. وكفره أن لا يستعمل ذلك فيه. But if he does not use the things given to him by the king for the purpose king said, then this is considered ungratefulness, bad manners. بأن يعطله ويستعمله فيما يزيد في بعده منه. And if he uses these things in such a way that these things take him away from his Lord, instead of bringing him closer to the Lord, to his king, then this is considered this kufr, yani this is rebellion, this is ungratefulness. فمهما لبس العبد الثوب وركب المركوب ولم ينفق الزاد إلا في الطريق فقد شكر مولاه. So if this servant, puts on the clothes and rides the animal, the let's say horse, and he doesn't eat the food given to him except while traveling on the roads, to the king. So this is considered like he's thankful to his Lord, to his king. إذ استعمل نعمته في محبته, because he spent whatever he is given to him by the king in a way which is pleasing to the king. أي فيما أحبه لعبده لا لنفسه. So this person did not use the things he's given to enjoy himself, but he used them in a way that his Lord likes. His Lord will be pleased with. So this is considered shukr, gratefulness on his side. وإن ركبه واستدبر حضرته وأخذ يبعد منه فقد كفر نعمته. But if the person who's given all these things does the opposite, mounts on the horse and turns back to this king and starts moving away and away from the king. So this is ungratefulness to the gifts, to the favors of the king. أي استعملها فيما كرهه مولاه لبعده لا لنفسه. So he used the things that are given to him by his king for a purpose which the king hates, the king dislikes. So that's why this is ungratefulness, because the king sent all these things to him so that he can come close to him, but he's using these things to go away, far away from him. وإن جلس ولم يركب لا في طلب القرب ولا في طلب البعد فقد كفر أيضا نعمته إذ أهملها وعطلها. But similarly, if this person just sits, doesn't ride the horse to get closer to his Lord, nor to get away from him, just the horse is there and he's not using it, just sitting where he is, neither trying to get closer to the Lord nor trying to get away from him. فقد كفر أيضا نعمته. This is also ungratefulness to the gift given to him by God, by the king. إذ أهملها وعطلها, because he did not use it. He just neglected using and benefiting from it. وإن كان هذا دون ما لو بعد منه. Even though it is less evil, compared to the above example, in which this person used the horse to leave away from the king. He used all these means to get away and move even further away from the king. But in this case, he's just sitting, not trying to move away or closer. So this is less evil compared to the first one, but still, this is again, kufran al-ni'mah, ungratefulness to what's given to him. فَكَذَلِكَ خَلَقَ اللَّهُ سُبْحَانَهُ الْخَلْقَ. This is the way Allah Ta'ala created human beings. وهم في ابتداء فطرتهم يحتاجون إلى استعمال الشهوات. People in the first phase of their creation, they need to use their desires. Their desires are helpful for them. For instance, like babies, they have desire to eat. So this desire to eat is helpful for them. So they grow. They have desire to drink water. This is good for them. So these desires are important for the growth and nourishment, development of the human beings in the beginning of their lives. لتكمل بها أبدانهم, so that their bodies get completed, get perfected. So if they have no desire to eat, if they have no desire to drink, then their bodies will not grow, will not nourish. So they need these desires. فيبعدون بها عن حضرته. And these desires are needed for the body, but at the same time, these desires may make people go away from the presence of Allah Ta'ala, or we can say like the abdan, or with those bodies, they may use those bodies to rebel Allah Ta'ala and to go away from Allah Ta'ala, despite the fact that these bodies are given to them by God, and this shahawat also given to them by God, so to support the development of their bodies. But وَإِنَّمَا سَعَادَتُهُمْ فِي الْقُرْبِ مِنْهُ, but their real happiness is getting closer to Allah Ta'ala. فأعد لهم من النعم ما يقدرون على استعمالها في نيل درجة القرب, because Allah Ta'ala prepared for them ni'am, the food, the other things that they need, the sustenance, so that they can use them to get closer and closer to Allah Ta'ala. So these things are prepared, for them, to use them to get closer to Allah Ta'ala. وعن بعدهم وقربهم عبر الله تعالى, and Allah Ta'ala, mentioned the closeness and the farness of their servants to him as follows: لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين. So we perfectly created human beings. We created human beings in the most perfect shape, but then we let them go down to the lowest level. So Allah Ta'ala in this verse mentions closeness to Allah Ta'ala and far away, being far away from Allah Ta'ala. So closeness, makes you like be on the ahsan al-taqweem, and getting away from him, puts someone at the level of asfal al-safilin. So فإذا, if this is so, نعم الله تعالى آلات يترقى العبد بها عن أسفل السافلين. So the gifts of Allah Ta'ala, which are given to a human being, these are means, instruments, tools with which a servant moves up, gets elevated from the lowest level to upper levels, and gets closer to Allah Ta'ala. خلقها الله تعالى لأجل العبد. Allah Ta'ala created these gifts, these ni'am, this sustenance for the servants, for human beings. حتى ينال بها سعادة القرب, so that those human beings use these sustenance, these livelihoods, these gifts from Allah Ta'ala to reach to the happiness of being close to Allah Ta'ala. والله تعالى غني عنه قرب أو بعد. Allah Ta'ala is above and beyond him, whether they get close to him or whether they move away from him. So Allah Ta'ala does not need them. والعبد فيها بين أن يستعملها في الطاعة فيكون قد شكر لموافقته محبة مولاه. So if the servant, uses whatever he is given by Allah Ta'ala in obedience to him and in accordance with his pleasure, so this is his expression of shukr, gratitude to Allah Ta'ala. So وبين أن يستعملها في معصيته فقد كفر لاقتحامه ما يكرهه مولاه ولا يرضاه له. And the other option, like after he receives all these livelihood, sustenance, and all these gifts from Allah Ta'ala, he may use them in rebellion, in things that Allah dislikes, and he's not pleased with those things. So this is, the people have the option of using whatever Allah Ta'ala gave to them, either to bring them closer to Allah Ta'ala or to take them away from Allah Ta'ala. And it all depends on like how you use whatever Allah Ta'ala has given to you. If you use them in such a way that serves the purpose for which those things are given to you, then you are getting closer to Allah Ta'ala. If you use them in the opposite or contradictory way for which they are given to you, then you are moving away from Allah Ta'ala, and this is rebellion against Allah Ta'ala. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَرْضَى لِعِبَادِ الْكُفْرِ وَالْمَعْصِيَةِ, because Allah Ta'ala does not like his servants to deny him, to be ungrateful to him, and to commit sins. These things displease Allah Ta'ala. وَإِنْ عَطَّلَهَا وَلَمْ يَسْتَعْمِلْهَا فِي تَعَةٍ وَلَا مَعْصِيَةٍ. That the third option is that people are given all this livelihood, all this sustenance, but they don't use them, neither in obedience to Allah Ta'ala, nor in disobedience to Allah Ta'ala. Just leave them unused. فَهُوَ أَيْضًا كُفْرَانٌ لِلنِّعْمَةِ بِالتَّضْيِيعِ. This is also كُفْرَانُ النِّعْمَةِ, ungratefulness to the gifts, to the sustenance given to him by missing them, by letting them remain unused. وَكُلُّ مَا خُلِقَ فِي الدُّنْيَا إِنَّمَا خُلِقَ آلَةً لِلْعَبْدِ لِيَتَوَصَّلَ بِهِ إِلَى سَعَادَةِ الْآخِرَةِ وَنَيْلِ الْقُرْبِ مِنَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى. And everything that's created in this world, they are created to serve as instruments, tools, means of the servants, to bring them to the happiness in the hereafter, and also the happiness of being, achieving closeness to Allah Ta'ala. So, like everything that's around us, created for us, so that we can use them to get the happiness in the hereafter, to get closer to Allah Ta'ala. فَكُلُّ مُطِيعٍ فَهُوَ بِقَدْرِ تَاعَتِهِ شَاكِرٌ نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ فِي الْأَسْبَابِ الَّتِي اسْتَعْمَلَهَا فِي الطَّاعَةِ. So every obedient person, depending on the extent of his obedience to Allah Ta'ala is a thankful person for the blessings, for the gifts of Allah Ta'ala, to the extent that he uses them in a way that's pleasing to Allah Ta'ala. فكل كسلان ترك الاستعمال أو عاص استعملها في طريق البعد فهو كافر جار في غير محبة الله تعالى. So anyone who is lazy, who did not use the means Allah Ta'ala gave to him, or he used them in the opposite way to get away, from Allah Ta'ala. So he's a non-believer, he's an oppressor, and he's going against the love of Allah Ta'ala. فالمعصية والطاعة تشملها المشيئة. So the obedience and disobedience contain the will of the person. They are all, grounded in the will of the person. ولكن لا تشملها المحبة والكراهة. But or we should translate this like al-mashiyya al-ilahiyya, so the obedience and disobedience, these are covered by the will of Allah Ta'ala. So because Allah Ta'ala, makes it possible or impossible, for people. So it is under the power and will of Allah Ta'ala. ولكن لا تشملها المحبة والكراهة. But the pleasure and displeasure of Allah Ta'ala is not included in the ma'asi and ta'a. So everything that happens is with the permission and with the will of Allah Ta'ala. He allows people to commit sin. He allows people to do wrong things because they have freedom. But he is happy and pleased if this thing is good, the actions of the people are good. He is displeased if the actions of the human beings are bad. So Abu Hanifa in his Fiqh al-Akbar, he says, يعني كل فعل بعلم الله تعالى وبإذنه وإرادته ومشيئته لكن المعصية لا برضاه ولكن الطاعة برضاه. So رضا and غضب, comes after the act is committed. So Allah Ta'ala gives permission to people to do whatever they want to do, but the fact that he gives permission to them to do what they do does not mean he is happy with them, he's pleased with them. Okay, so if someone wants to drink alcohol, Allah allows him to drink alcohol. This is with the mashiyat of Allah Ta'ala, ilmillah Ta'ala, but لا بمحبته تعالى ولا برضائه تعالى. That's why this person will be punished afterwards. بل رب مراد محبوب ورب مراد مكروه. On the contrary, there are certain things, desired by people, they are loved by Allah Ta'ala, and there are certain things which are desired by people and they are disliked by Allah Ta'ala. وَوَرَاءَ بَيَانِ هَذِهِ الدَّقِيقَةِ سِرُّ الْقَدَرِ. And in background of this very fine point, the secret of qadar. الَّذِي مُنْعَ مِنْ إِفْشَائِهِ and the secret of qadr is, is prohibited or forbidden to be exposed. وقد انحل بهذا الإشكال الأول وهو أنه إذا لم يكن للمشكور حظ فكيف يكون الشكر. So with this explanation, Imam Ghazali said the first question is answered. And what's the first problem? The first problem was about إذا لم يكن للمشكور حظ فكيف يكون الشكر. So the thanked person, or the person like one offers thanks to him, if he doesn't get any benefit, any pleasure out of this thanks offered to him, how can that be thanks? How can this be a thanks? Because he mentioned about that when we thank Allah Ta'ala, Allah Ta'ala doesn't need these thanks. Allah Ta'ala doesn't need our gratitude, our gratefulness to him. He doesn't need. But then the question arises, if Allah Ta'ala does not benefit at all, from our gratitude, from our offering thanks to him, then how come this can be a gratitude to him? And he says this is how it is. He doesn't need, he gives us all these means to use them so that we get closer to him, and he does not benefit from this at all. And he used this example to explain this to us. Okay. وبهذا أيضا ينحل الإشكال الثاني. And with this, the second problem, which is mentioned above, it's also explained. فإن لم نعني بالشكر إلا انصراف نعمة الله في وجه محبته تعالى، فإذا انصرفت النعمة في جهة المحبة بفعل الله تعالى فقد حصل المراد. So he says that if we mean by shukr using whatever we are given by Allah Ta'ala in such a way that he likes, that's shukr. Okay, this is how Imam Ghazali defined shukr, right? He said, like, when you use whatever you are given by Allah Ta'ala in a way that's pleasing to him, that's shukr. That's shukr. Just use whatever he has given to you in a way that's pleasing to him. That's shukr. So if you define shukr like this, فإذا انصرفت النعمة في وجه المحبة بفعل الله تعالى فقد حصل المراد. If the gift given by Allah Ta'ala is used in the purpose or in the path of in the path which is pleasing to Allah Ta'ala, and this is this also an action by Allah Ta'ala, because he's making this possible for you, then the purpose is achieved, because when you thank to Allah Ta'ala by using what he has given to you, this is also created by Allah Ta'ala. This is also made possible by Allah Ta'ala, right? Just like the sins that are made possible, good things are also made possible by Allah Ta'ala. So he's pleased with this, and the purpose is achieved. This is what he wants. He gives you things, and when you use them in such a way that's pleasing to him, the purpose is achieved. وَفِعْلُكَ عَطَاءٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى. But this fi'l of using those things in a way pleasing to Allah Ta'ala, again, it's a gift from Allah Ta'ala. If he didn't allow you to make this action, you wouldn't be able to do it. He made it possible for you, right? وَمِنْ حَيْثُ أَنْتَ مَحَلُّهُ فَقَدْ أَثْنَى عَلَيْكَ. But because you are the place of this action, this is enough for you. You are the place of it, this is enough for you. وثناؤه نعمة أخرى منه إليك. And Allah Ta'ala praises you because you are the place of this fi'l, which is ultimately created by Allah Ta'ala. And this praise, because you are thankful to Allah Ta'ala, because you offer shukr to Allah Ta'ala, you know, He praises you. This is also another gift from Allah Ta'ala to you. فهو الذي أعطى وهو الذي أثنى. So He is the one who gave at the first place that gift to you, and He is the one who praised you when you used it in a good way. فصار أحد فعليه سببا لانصراف فعله الثاني إلى جهة محبته. So one of his actions became a cause for his second action, to give you his mahabbat. So he gave you the gift, and then he gave you another gift, which is the gift of shukr. You know, he made it possible for you to make shukr. To make shukr to the first gift, you know, this is also a gift from Allah Ta'ala. You know, so you know, both of them are gifts from Allah Ta'ala. فَلَهُ الشُّكْرُ عَلَى كُلِّ حَالٍ. You know, he deserves to be thanked in every condition, in every circumstance. وَأَنْتَ مَوْصُوفٌ بِأَنَّكَ شَاكِرٌ. And when you offer your gratitude to Allah Ta'ala, you are considered shakir, a thankful person. بمعنى أنك محل المعنى الذي الشكر عبادة عنه. In the sense that you are the place, you are the locus of the shukr. Shukr is not completely your action. You know, it is the place. You know, you are the place of that action. Allah made it possible for you to make shukr to Him. لا بمعنى أنك موجد له. You know, you are not the one who's creating that action from nothing. You know, Allah creates this action on you. كما أنك موصوف بأنك عارف وعالم لا بمعنى أنك خالق العلم وموجده. This is similar to like when you say you are arif or you are alim. It doesn't mean you are the creator of the ilm. It doesn't mean you are creator of the irfan. ولكن بمعنى أنك محل له. But its meaning is that you are the mahal. You are the place of knowledge. You are the place of irfan. You know, but irfan is not your creation. Ilm is not your creation. وقد وجد بالقدرة الأزلية فيك. So that ilm and that irfan, you know, existed with you because of the eternal power of Allah Ta'ala. فوصفك بأنك شاكر إثبات شيئية لك. So the way that you are attributed to be a shakir is an indication of your existence. Shay'iyya means to exist. You know, so you know, when you are attributed, when you are described to be someone who's shakir, you know, this is, you know, this is an evidence that you exist. وأنت شيء إذ جعلك خالق الأشياء شيئا. You are something existing because the creator of everything is the one who made you something existing. So he made you shay. Shay معناه موجود. موجود. That's the meaning of shay. So you are موجود because Allah Ta'ala made you موجود. It's not you who made yourself موجود. It's Allah who made you موجود. وإنما أنت لا شيء إذا كنت أنت ظانا نفسك شيئية من ذاتك. But if you attribute some existence by yourself to yourself, then you are nothing. You know, if you forget Allah Ta'ala, that He's the one who made you something, He's the one who brought you to existence, He's the one who made you something, that if you forget these things and you think, I made myself, I exist by myself, then you become la shay, as if you are nothing. You know, you lose the meaning of your life. Do you lose the meaning of your existence? فأما باعتبار النظر إلى الذي جعل الأشياء أشياء فأنت شيء إذا جعلك شيئا. You know, from the perspective of Allah Ta'ala, who make things existing beings, you are an existing being because He made you an existing being. فإن قطع النظر عن جعله كنت لا شيء تحقيقا. But if His approach to you to make you something is ignored, or His nazar it disappears, then you become in nothing in reality. تحقيقا يعني تحقيقا. So your existence depends on Allah Ta'ala creating you. You cannot exist by yourself. You did not exist by yourself. So you have to recognize that He is the one who created you. Okay, so inshallah, let's stop here. Then inshallah, if Allah Ta'ala gives us life and health, we continue from here. These are very philosophical issues for us to explore. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Take care.
Thank you.